Alrighty, so we are back with another video, and this will be the only video for the week this week. I'm going to be pretty much covering these same things in both the classes, so that you can just watch this one video, and that we're really kind of gearing toward the end of class now, which means that we are going to be focused more on writing rather than learning new stuff. So it's going to be a lot of review and a lot of just working on your actual paper. So that's going to be the focus really from here until the end of the semester. We'll talk about revising as we go along as well. But from now on, we're kind of just gearing toward that research paper and writing mostly. So today we are going to talk about outlining, and I'm also going to do a little bit of a thesis review because you will be turning into me your thesis, your research thesis and your topic outline by the end of this week, so by Friday. So we do have a quiz, and that will be live probably on Wednesday, and then you just have this one video. And then make sure that you look at your literature review grades and comments. Let me know if you have any questions. So just if you haven't checked that out, and last time I looked in D2L, a lot of y'all had not read your comments and things like that. So make sure you look at that, because some of you have some issues that you could fix if you go in there and check that out. And start working on that research thesis. I'm going to show you a sample that I've used that I'm going to give you that you can work from. And so you're going to be turning in your research thesis and your topic outline on this Friday. So today we're really going to be looking at outlines. I don't know if you all are really into outlines or not, using them. I do them somewhat, kind of informal outlines, but learn why they're important and how they can help you in your writing. Learn about the different types of outlines, learn how to create an outline, and review how to write your research thesis. We've already gone over this a few times, but just kind of a quick review as far as now that we're actually to the research paper, how to write that thesis, and learn how to translate your research thesis into a topic outline. So, what is the purpose of an outline? Well, it helps you create a plan for your paper, and that's usually what I use it for. Is I just kind of create, or I just type a couple of words that at the beginning of each paragraph that tell me what that paragraph's going to be about, and then I go back in and actually fill in the information, and then once I do that, I kind of delete the outline off the paper. It helps you organize before you begin writing, so you know what point you're going to talk about first, what point you're going to talk about second, what's going to be the most important thing and where you want to put that. It allows you to see how your ideas connect with each other, so you can figure out how the flow will work from the beginning to the end of your paper, and shows where you need to flesh out your ideas. So once you start filling out an outline, if you have a lot of points that you can use for one particular subtopic or something, you know, like different resources and things to support, but you don't have as much for another point, then maybe it'll show you can go back and look for some more things. So everything is, you should be spending the same amount of time on each of your supporting points and use the same amount of space on your paper. So making sure that you have all of everything, all of your points fleshed out as much as they possibly can be. So, main elements of an outline: you've got your overall thesis of the paper, you put that at the top. That is what's guiding everything, is guiding your paper, and it's also going to guide your outline. Then you have your main idea and topic of each body paragraph, and then below that you have the evidence and support offered in each paragraph to substantiate main points. So, what you're going to be turning into me, though, however, is really just these first two things. I'm not asking you to give me your evidence and support and stuff yet. That's really going to be you building that out in your paper. What I'm asking for this Friday is you give me your thesis, the research thesis of the paper, and then the main idea, topic sentence for each one of the reasons you list in your paper. And we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. So they got two different types of outlines. This is something from the book, alphanumeric versus decimal. I don't care which one you use, whichever one works best for you. When you start to do it in Word, I don't know if you've ever tried to do an outline in Word, it's very irritating because when you start typing, it starts to automatically format for you and do all kinds of crazy things, and it's kind of really annoying. But usually what they go for is this alphanumeric, where you have the Roman numerals, and then subtopics underneath that are capitalized letters, and then subtopics underneath those are Arabic numerals, just the 1, 2, 3, 4 you're used to, and then subtopics underneath that are lowercase letters. And then you could also do the decimal, which they have an example of this in the book, and I tried to put these into my PowerPoint and trying to copy and paste an outline into any kind of Microsoft program is where it tries to automatically set it up and it just loses its mind. So I don't have a visual example of that for right now, but you can use either one. Decimal is just where you kind of have your main points, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then underneath you have like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. So you have your subtopics kind of underneath, kind of like chapters in a book. So we also look at micro and macro outlines. So for those of you that are science inclined, y'all probably know the difference when you're talking about micro versus macro. So micro is looking at the little details of things versus macro is looking at the overall big picture. So when you think about the topic outline I'm asking for a macro outline. I'm looking for a bigger picture idea, not all the little tiny details within your paper. So the micro is a focus on the micro, as it says, to drill down specific details of the essay's content. They are particularly useful when the topic you are discussing is complex in nature. When creating a micro outline, it can also be useful to insert the quotations you plan to include in the essay. So including your citations, but the actual quotes and paraphrases you're going to use for support and subsequent analyses of these quotes. Because remember, you can't just put a quote in there by itself. You've got to give me some analysis. You have to tell me why these quotes are important after you put those citations in there, which some of you still aren't doing, and that's going to be a big deal. If you get to the research paper and you have no citations, then I can't grade that, which means that's a big blank there on your transcript for the class. So taking this extra step helps ensure that you have enough support for your ideas, as well as reminding writers to analyze and discuss quotations rather than simply inserting quotes and moving on, which again, is not what you're supposed to do. You've got to give me that analysis. While time-consuming to create, micro outlines can be seen as basically creating the first rough draft of an essay. So if you really go in there and you fill out a micro outline where you put your thesis at the top, you have all your topic sentences, and you have all the support that goes underneath every one of your topic sentences and subtopics, you have your paper. You've written the paper. And so it's something that works pretty well if you want to use that. If sometimes you just want to jump right into the paper and start out with a macro outline where you're just kind of got the main ideas and then use all the details in your paper. Either one of those is up to you. But like I said, I'm going to be asking you to turn in a version of a macro outline at the end of this week. So a macro outline focuses on the big picture of an essay's main points and support by using short phrases or keywords to indicate the focus and content at each level of the essay's development. A macro outline is useful when writing about a variety of ideas and issues where the ordering of the points is more flexible. In other words, you can kind of move them around. They don't have to go in necessarily a particular order. So like I said, what I'm looking for on Friday is going to be more of a macro outline. It's going to be a big picture idea where you give me your thesis and then you give me topic sentences that show the reasons that you are using from your thesis to support your argument. So when we go to creating an outline, first you have to identify your topic, which of course you have already done. Put that in your own words in a single sentence or phrase to help you stay on topic. And then determine your main points. So what are the main points you want to make to convince your audience of the argument about your topic? So refer to pre-writing brainstorming exercises, answering the 5 W questions, the why, how, who, what, when, where, that kind of thing. Use your brainstorming notes to figure out what are those main points that you really want to cover that's going to help you create that working thesis, which, like I said, at this point, you should have your working thesis pretty much nailed down. List your main points and ideas in a logical order. You can always change those later, but figure out what your logical order is going to be and go from there. And then create subpoints under each main idea. So typically each time you have a new number or letter, there needs to be at least 2 points. In other words, if you have an A, you need to have a B. In other words, you can't have a main topic or a main point and you only have one little edge of support, one little example of support. You should have at least 2 for everything. Though perhaps frustrating at first, it is indeed useful because it forces you to think hard about each point. If you can't create 2 points, then reconsider including the first in your paper, as it may be extraneous information that may detract from your argument. So in other words, if you can't find more than one piece of support for that point, is that really a good point? You should have at least 2 different places that are 2 different ways to support your argument, whether it's through your own words or using some of your sources. Then evaluate. So review your organizational plan. Does each paragraph have a controlling idea or topic sentence? Is each point adequately supported? Look over what you've written. Does it make logical sense? Is each point suitably fleshed out? Is there anything included that is unnecessary? So you can look at those outlines and kind of go over what you've written down and figure out, is this organized the way I want it to? Am I saying all the stuff I need to? And am I saying stuff that I don't need to that goes off topic that I could possibly take out of there? So it lets you look at your paper in a general way before you actually get down to writing it. All right, so that's what we're talking about as far as outlines. And I'm going to show you an example of what I'm looking for in just a few minutes. But let me look over this. We got a thesis statement review here. So remember, your research thesis statement should be in the claim because reasons format. Which means, now remember, this claim because reasons format is a requirement for this essay. That's why I'm getting you to turn this in early, to make sure that you are putting this in the correct format. That means your claim is the same thing as the answer to your research question or your argument, and the reasons are the reasons why your answer is correct or your argument is valid. So, an example of that. And this is the example I've got. I've posted it on D2L, and we'll look at it in just a second. But say, for example, my topic is teen dating violence. My research question is, what's the best way to prevent teen dating violence? And I've decided that my answer is going to be early relationship education. And the reasons why I found are, it helps students recognize the red flags of unhealthy relationships. It helps them understand dangerous relationship examples around them. Helps them see bad pop culture influences, and teaches them to set healthy boundaries. So my final thesis is, we're looking at answering the question and giving me the reasons. So the final thesis, educating young people early in life about abusive relationships is the best way to prevent teen dating violence. See, that answers, that sentence, part of the sentence right there answers my question. What's the best way? Educating young people early in life about abusive relationships is the best way to prevent teen dating violence, because it helps students recognize warning signs of abuse in relationships around them and in their own relationships, prepares them to ignore violent and controlling pop culture influences, and teaches them to set healthy boundaries, healthy personal boundaries, so they can break the cycle of abuse. So if you see here, I've got the answer, my claim, the answer to my question here, and then I've got the because, and then I've got all these reasons written out here. So I've got all that together in my final thesis. Yes, this looks long, but it covers everything that needs to be in there. So the topic sentences, so that's going to be your thesis, and then you're also going to be turning in what I consider a topic outline. So I need to see those things, and then your topic sentence, give me a topic sentence for each one of those reasons. So I had these well, this is kind of 4, but I broke it down into 3 right here. 3 different reasons here as to why educating young people early in life about abusive relationships is the best way to prevent it. And so I should have a topic sentence that talks about helping students recognize warning signs of abuse in their own relationships and in relationships around them. I should also see a topic sentence preparing them to ignore violent and controlling pop culture influences. And I also should have a topic sentence teaching them to set healthy personal boundaries so that they can break the cycle of abuse. So what I'm looking for is your topic, your question, your thesis, and then your topic sentences. And like I said, I'm going to show you an example of that. Actually, let's just go to the example. And I haven't pulled this up yet, but let's look right. Nope, that's not what I'm doing. It's under, if you look under the sample papers and class handouts, it's down here. I've got your sample research thesis and topic outline here for you. And I've color-coded it, because I don't know about y'all, but it helps me when I see stuff that is color-coded. So here's a sample research question and thesis format. So remember, as I said before, your thesis should be in the claim because reasons format, which is essentially your argument, which is the answer to your question because the reasons that why your argument is valid. So every time on this page you see yellow highlighted, that is a different rewording of my claim. And every time you see green on this page, that is the reasons that I'm using here. So again, topic, teen dating violence. Question, what's the best way to prevent teen dating violence? My answer is early relationship education, which is my argument, which is the answer to my question. So it's yellow. And then the reasons that I listed before. So my final thesis, like I said, you see at the beginning, it's highlighted yellow. This is the answer to my question because, and then we've got the reasons. So you can see that very clearly here. And then here's the topic outline. I've listed each one of my reasons that I'm using that are just taken directly from my thesis statement, and I'm giving a topic sentence for them. So if you see, I've got yellow here. I'm restating my argument for each one of these topic sentences. I'm doing it in different words, but I'm reminding the audience of my argument. So my first reason helps students recognize the warning signs of abuse in their own relationship and in relationships around them. So my topic sentence is teaching young students about the dangers of unhealthy relationships, which is my argument, helps students recognize the warning signs of abuse in their own relationships and in relationships around them. So you see how I'm pretty much taking the same wording from this reason and I'm just making a topic sentence out of it. I restate my thesis, but I list one reason instead of listing all of them in my, I have all my reasons up here in my main thesis. But for my topic sentences, I list my claim and then I list the reasons I'm going to talk, that particular reason I'm going to talk about in that particular paragraph. So second reason, prepares them to ignore violent and controlling pop culture dating influences. I restate my argument in a different way again. Educating young people about abusive relationships prepares them to ignore violent and controlling pop culture dating influences like reality television. Obviously, I'm going to be talking about pop culture influences like reality television in the rest of this paragraph. And then the reason 3 is teaches them to set healthy personal boundaries so they can break the cycle of abuse. So I've restated my claim again in different words. Exposing students to relationship education early in life teaches them to set healthy personal and relationship boundaries that they can help break the cycle of abuse. That can help break the cycle of abuse. So you see how I've taken each one of my reasons and I've made it into a topic sentence where I restate my thesis or my claim at the beginning, and then I have one reason out of my thesis for each one of these topic sentences. So this is what I'm looking for from you at the end of this week. I want to at least see, you can actually just do it just like this. You don't have to color code it. Sometimes, like I said, it just makes it easier for me and just to be able to look and, be able to find things. I didn't highlight these green, but I labeled them all as reasons so you know what I'm talking about. But, I've got my topic question, the answer to the question. This takes you through steps writing the thesis, so you don't just have to jump right into writing the thesis. It takes you step by step. What are the reasons? And then make that into a sentence, and then you got your topic outline where I'm just listing the main reasons you're going to be talking about within your paper from your thesis, and the topic sentence that can introduce that paragraph about that particular piece of information. So that is, like I said, under the sample papers and everything like that under there. So on D2L, so make sure that you look at that. And your assignments for the rest of the week, review those researched argument assignment sheet. I did a video about it last week. So if you want to watch that, I go over it a little bit closer or review it yourself and let me know if you have any questions. That is what we are focusing on now. We are working towards that research argument, the big final paper. Make sure you do the weekly quiz and start working on that research paper thesis. You should start working on it now because it will be due to me to D2L on this Friday, April the 9th. And as always, that's a weird looking slide. If you have any questions, make sure that you let me know.